Today we're going to be taking a look at some casing designs. But that doesn't make much sense yet. And then we got this. That thing is nice. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Yeah, enjoy the message. So here we have the attempt I've kept. Uses the larger circular holes so that you get the better flow through with the back that just kind of slides down on top. Let's take a look at our joystick mounts. Oh, there's so many of them. Bam. There we go. Got it completely mounted at the bottom. Let's go ahead and grab that top. Yeah, here's our top piece. Go ahead and mount that. Take a look at that. It's perfect. You see how nice that top moves? That is just wonderful. Bam. There we go. Now, what I really love about this design is that I have these holes. So there's 6.5mm buttons going to 7mm holes. I've adjusted the holes to be 6. So let's go ahead and clear all of that off. Controller there, it's a piece of foam. And basically how this would work is kind of pops on like that and it would screw down. And all of these were just tests. Here we have the one that worked. As you can see, it sits flush with the thing. So if we plug it in, the cord goes straight in, flush with that, and then we can just pull it straight out and it stays in. Here is the battery holder that I've designed. It has inserts from a 18650s. These are 3050 milliamp hours and they do 6.1 amp. And you can see I'm mounting the display using those screw holes, so it sits on top of there like that. It's very blocky, and it had more of the correct spacing. It jabs straight into your hands, which really is not the ideal way to have it happen. So I scrapped that. I needed some sort of edge. Wake back up! That leads us to this. And right here, you're going to see the design and printing of this. And after that, we'll talk more about what I did and put everything in here as a test fit. Here we got the final printed product. Overall, I'm actually decently impressed, and I mean, here you can see I'm just putting it together. I'm okay with it. There's certain things that I definitely want to fix, like the spacing is a little bit off, and I have a couple issues with like where things are. So the speaker, I think, is definitely too close to the display, and the display mount is definitely too far back. I believe that the display could definitely be a little bit closer, but that issue will be fixed once I get the longer screws. For the joystick, I'm still undecided about whether I want to have this like peg system or if I just want it to screw into the bottom. I'm leaning towards the peg system, so maybe that will be put in at a later time, as I haven't even designed the back for it yet. On the ends, I'm actually really happy with the overall shape. It feels really good. It gets rid of that issue with the pointy corners on that one test model. Of course, if you didn't fall asleep through that. Next iteration is definitely going to include some sort of battery holder. I don't know if it'll include the full-on batteries, but it's at least going to include a position for them. And I definitely need to change where everything is and Yeah, I also want to make the walls thicker. The walls in this design were supposed to be 1 millimeter, but they ended up being half of a millimeter because of a calculation error I made. So in my final design, or at least a later iteration, I definitely want to bump the wall thickness up to 2 millimeters. I think it'll give you that more premium feeling build where you have rigid walls that don't move around on you. Because of course, once like the back is in, you won't have any issues with rigidity. But having those thicker walls will help improve the feel of the console. And in retrospect, 2 millimeters is not a lot to where you're going to notice it being larger, but you will notice a difference in the stability of the console. The buttons are okay, but I'm not happy with how tight the holes are. I'm definitely going to expand the holes, even not by much, maybe half a millimeter, 0.4 millimeters, and that should fix the issue. So yeah, let's talk about what's wrong. Buttons. The buttonholes need to be wider. Definitely want to put in some way to hold the batteries in there. You can't really do that right now. No. Definitely needed to be thicker because I could tell that there was rigidity issues. Stupid thing! Mm. Ah.